Welcome to the training session for QA and Scrum Master. It's a Scrum technically. So QA, when we say it is testing. So what is that we are going to cover in this particular session? We are just going to have an overview of this session here, and then we will go to the contents in deep about what we are going to do. And before we continue further, my name is Sitaram. Okay, I worked in various capacities in the IT industry, into the QA, into the developer, into ERP, business analyst. Okay, almost all aspects I worked into. And in my current role also, I am performing all the testing related activities in the ERP applications, okay, including the documentation part. So this particular session is about the testing. What is mean by testing? What is the importance of testing we have? Okay, what is that we are going to cover in the testing course? Okay, why we need to test the application? These are the concepts we are going to cover in this particular training session, which we are going to start. Okay, and please remember, this is just only the demo session we are going to have to go over to have an overview of what are the content we are going to cover and how much time, approximate timeline. Okay, it is not exactly the hard and fast rule we are going to have. It is a tentative timeline that we came up with that. Okay, and what are the features we are going to provide, or what are the advantages of joining this training? That's what we are going to discuss here. Okay, so for this particular training session, so these are the highlights we are going to have in the session here. So this session is going to be like what are the topics we are going to have, or what is the overall training concept we are going to have. You pretty much all the trainings which we offer from our firm, we follow these similar concepts here, and some of these are not in place yet, but which we are almost getting there to implement all this. So these are pretty much the concepts which we are going to cover in all the trainings. When I say all the trainings, we have other trainings already going on from our company or firm, I can say. What are the trainings we have at this point? It is about Python, which you have Python for kids, as well as a boot camp session is going on, and also .NET session is going on. So these are the sessions which we have. Okay, and also it is like a product. Also, one beautiful product is already designed and also developed by our team, our students who join the sessions. And also we are proud to announce like at least 10 to 15 members, okay, are placed. The people who were trained in the last 6 months from our trainers, okay, they were already placed in different firms in India and also in other countries like US, Canada, okay, also UK. So we have Australia including, okay, we have some of the trainers, some of the people who are being trained by our trainers, they are placed there. Okay, so these are some of the highlights about our training form. And what we are going to have part of the QA as well as the Scrum. So the first one we are going to have case studies will be given, okay, and also a live project we are going to have. When I say live project, for the live project, we are going to give our own site, which is almost going live in the next 4 to 5 days. Okay, that particular site, you will be performing the testing and also all testing related activities on that particular site. And the next one will be we are going to have a database of various interview questions that will be provided through the YouTube, provided through the Google Drive. Okay, so this particular Google Drive, which we are going to have right now, I just placed these two. And these two we are going to have, okay, along with this, we will be placing all our training related information, also the training information, and also we are going to have the interview information we are going to prepare, and also we'll place some resumes in that particular shared location. And when I say mock interviews, at least 2 mock interviews will be covered, will be performed or conducted by our trainers, as well as we have a pool of people, okay, who will be helping us out about the mock interviews. So those people they will be covering. And this particular point blog is going to be about our site. We are going to introduce this concept after the site is up and running, and videos available on YouTube. They say like, so here we have a channel. In the channel, we have all the information, approximately how many we have. It is about, we have 130 videos are available in the channel, okay, with different types of playlists which we have. So these are the different playlists which we introduced, and all of these are having different information. So these channels can be viewed by all people who are actually going through our training. So this is some information we have about our channel, as well as about this, about the Google Drive and seminars. Okay, so when I say seminars, okay, we have a couple of seminars planned by by the QA managers who are in the industry along with us. So we are going to have some of the seminars being taken by the QA managers. The main what they will be covering in these seminars will be about how to prepare for Scrum Master examination, or for like any certifications when you want. Okay, the key points they will be covering there, and all who are interested will be added to one group, and in that group we are going to have the communication through this particular group. And as I already mentioned, the Google Drive, we have information. Okay, and at any point in time, okay, we are available, okay, on this email ID, as well as this like in the WhatsApp, you can just message this number, as well as you have for the information like the YouTube channel, we have all the content as I was showing. You have this. Okay, we strongly encourage you to subscribe and also watch not only these videos but all other videos which are useful for the career growth. And the next one in this particular topic, what we are going to have in the training, we are going to have these concepts. We are going to have the first one will be like what is mean by testing, why we need the testing. So those concepts we are going to cover, and then we will be having the manual testing concepts, like how to perform the manual testing, or like what is meant by so the concepts like a test plan. Okay, so those kind of things we are going to cover. I'll go in detail when I go sharing the other document. And then we are going to have automated testing. We are going to cover this automated testing with basic concepts in the testing. We choose the tool as Selenium. Okay, we work with various tools, our team, like way back. It is 15-20 years back also we started with this, I don't know if you ever heard the word as Rational Robot. So those tools also we started, okay, Load Runner, Windrunner, Rational Robot, Silk, okay, those concepts which we worked in. But right now we are going to cover the basics, or like how the tool Selenium can be used. Okay, for that particular purpose we will be showing the concepts, basic concepts in that tool, because Selenium by itself is a bigger one. So we will be covering the basic tools, and then you can expand on that particular tool. Then database concepts. When I say database concepts, what is that we are going to cover? Usually part of the testing, you need to perform some testing called as a DB testing. In the sense, okay, example, you are working on a registration form, and in the form, when you want to test the registration form, what you need to do, you will be giving all the information, okay, about you, and you click on a save or register button. Okay, at that time, when you are going to do that, this information is going to be stored somewhere in the system. Where is that going to be stored? That is in a database we are going to store. Part of this database concepts, we are going to have what exactly how exactly we are going to retrieve the data. Okay, once you click on the save button or register button, whether the information properly saved into the database or not, how to check back, okay, how to go back and then retrieve the information from the database. Most of these database tools will be pretty much they will be using the SQL, structured query language. Most of these tools like MySQL, let us say, or MS Access example, okay? So, or Oracle, you have SQL Server. Pretty much most of these will be using the similar concepts there, okay? So that is what we are going to cover with the basic SQL commands. When I say basic, we write, we try to see that, okay, how to select the tables, how to see what are the tables you have, how to write a SQL select statement. Okay, is not just we are not going to complete just saying that, okay, select star from a table. It's like little bit queries, little bit complicated queries, covering 3 or 4 tables. We try to cover some concepts. Whole entire session will dedicate for that particular session, and then we cover the agile methodology we are going to cover. Okay, so what, and also nowadays you know about the we people will talk about the story, or like they talk about this stand-up calls, right? So people will be calling about that, we'll be talking about that, we'll cover about the scrum master there. Okay, so those are the concepts. 1 second, we will be covering in the sessions. Yeah. So those are the things which we are going to cover in the Scrum Master, or which is part of the Agile methodology. We are going to cover here. Okay, like we talk about multiple things called as like daily Scrum, retrospective. Okay, and also like sprint. So what are the things which we use in the industry, and how we are going to cover that? And also part of this couple of sessions. Okay, we will just have it as a stand-up call practice for the team. So stand-up call practice, when we say, once we go to the assignments, or like the first part, as we were mentioning, something like a case study, okay? And also about the live project, especially at that particular time, we are going to mimic the exact scenario which we are going to have in the real-time environment about that, okay? At least 5 to 10 minutes, we just take it. Part of that, we try to practice. And we cover the defect tracking, okay? So because we are into the testing aspect of the application, right? So this testing, when we are going to have, there will be some defects. That's the whole point, okay, of the tester. What they are going to have, there are 2 aspects in the system, okay? Apart from others, we always concentrate on 2 things in the testing world or in the software world. We have someone called as a developer, okay, and the other part of it is called as a tester. Okay, if you just put it simply, what are the roles we are going to have? The first point is the developer is trying to make it, tester is trying to break it. Okay, so now developer will develop something, the testing team will try to break it, and if they are succeeded, right, if they are succeeding in breaking it, right, now it goes back to the development team, and development team has to fix it again, and then again they need to test it. So again, these people will try to break it. So like it may take a couple of iterations or maybe multiple iterations, but the whole point for the company, okay, whoever is trying to get the product, the end product is that the quality product will be developed, or the quality product will be made. Okay, like these terms may be looking like a new thing for us, but when it comes to the real time, right, real world, even we are already practicing it. Like teacher will tell something in the school for us, okay, way back when we go for the training, even up to our degree or whatever we have, right? Teacher will tell something, we write something. Teacher will say, no, this is not correct. Go write it again. We erase it, write it again, okay? Now, who is the developer there? We are the developer, teacher is the tester. Okay. So what we write, and the teacher will try to say that, no, this is not correct. But at the end, we come up, okay, whatever we write, maybe essay which we write, okay, it may be having errors. And like teacher will correct it, we fix it. Says, no, again, mistake. Okay, a couple of iterations, and then we'll come up with a good product. That is what the whole entire purpose of this testing. Both teams are important here, okay? So, and similarly, when you're going to have like that is the defect tracking. Doing that process, you have a mistake. Now you need to cover that mistake. You're testing that mistake, and then do a defect. You are saying there is a defect. Now they say that it is fixed. They, in the sense, the development team, you're going to go back, test it again, okay, for them to identify, for the team, for the development team to identify, there should be some mechanism to track it, okay. What is that this team is saying, or what is that this guy is asking, and what is that I'm fixing? So that is something like defect we are going to enter, and then log the defect. They are going to fix it. We are going to come back, test, and say, yes, passed, or still failed, okay, partially fixed, kind of. Those are, we'll come up with a different terminology when exactly we talk about the testing, okay. But we are talking about the basic concepts here. And then version control, okay. Version control means usually we have this, you develop something, okay, or something is developed, you test it. At later time, okay, you are going to change something into that, okay. The current functionality is fine, but you want to enhance that. That is something called as, when you want to do that, we cannot just get rid of the old one. Old one has to be there. On top of it, we are going to have a new one. So that is what is called as version control, okay. Like example, version 1 or version 1.1, okay. Like in our movies, we are getting sequels, right? Something like the second version, okay, Robo 1, Robo 2, something like that. This is the version control we are going to have. And then coming to the documentation, any product which you develop, that has to have a proper documentation about maybe how to use it or how to fix it, okay, those kind of things which you need to have. In case of what we are going to cover in our this training part, we are going to cover the documentation about how the defects has to be fixed, or how these when you have it is like different environments we talk here in the training. We talk it as a development environment, test environment, live environment, people will call, or production environment. Technically, both will be same. So how to move it from one place to the other place. So that is what we are going to cover in the documentation part. Okay. So these are the topics we are going to have an elaborated concept. Okay. It is not like I just highlighted here, but there are much more in this particular concepts which we are going to cover. And for this particular session, what is that the prerequisites we need to have? Okay. So this is, we need the enthusiasm to learn and dedicated to attend sessions, as well as, okay, so try to follow our channel and make use of the content which is already available, okay, like .NET you have, okay, SQL you have, okay, Python you have. So those concepts which will be used. Why we are suggesting to go through those concepts even in the training, even in the QA training also, which means, okay, like, one second. So we are requesting you to go through this particular content also here, okay. One second. Okay. Why we are suggesting you to go through that and make use of that, okay. So just to use that content in the YouTube, okay, you can directly subscribe and watch. Okay. So let us say you are going to have a site which we need to test this particular site example. Okay. Now we are just trying to say contact us, you need to test it. When you want to test this, right? So you can test it without knowing how this is built, okay, in one way. And if you have an idea of what is the technology that is used behind this, okay, whether it is built using PHP or Python or something else, Visual Basic or some other technologies, okay, example. So if how it is made, if you can understand that, okay, if you know that, you will come up with a more detailed or like more qualitative product. You will be contributing to a more qualitative product. Okay. Without knowing that also, you can know, but every time you need to go back, okay, and then ask the development team how this is working or how to use this, that those kind of things. If you know a little bit of content about this, okay, even the development team also, okay, so they cannot just tell anything, and they know, okay, they in the sense the development team, okay, they know that, okay, no, you know the content about this particular technology, so the people will be more careful when they are talking to you. Okay. So those concepts will be there. And just don't think that I'm putting the development team as a villain here. Okay. But it is possible. Okay. Like unless until we know the things, okay, so people will take us for granted. Okay. Those I'm just telling from that perspective. It will be more added advantage for us. That's the whole point I'm just mentioning. Okay. It's not that is a both hand in hand. They have to go. Otherwise, the product cannot be delivered. Both development team as well as the testing team. Other teams will be there, but both should go hand in hand. Okay. And the next one which we have, okay. So what are the expectations we have? Okay. So with your time. Okay. So please switch off the mobiles. Okay. And then mute your audio. Similarly, we have subscribe and churn. Okay. These are the general concepts which you have. Okay. And now coming to the next presentation which we have, okay, let me just go back and then show you the content in the presentation. In this presentation, okay, in this particular training, what is that we are going to have more, okay? So like we just have this information and the, oh, sorry, this is what we need to find in the testing also. It's a copy paste problem, okay? So now, like it is going to be online session through Zoom, and it is 1 hour per day, which we have Monday to Friday for approximately 30 sessions. Okay, I just add this approximately 30 sessions we are going to have. And in this introduction to testing, we have and the manual testing and automated testing, we have database concepts. Okay, so these are the things which you have. Defect reporting and tracking. You can use Jira, HPQC, or even ServiceNow also nowadays. Okay, which in short they call it as Snow. Okay, it is ServiceNow. And then similarly, version control we are going to have. Okay, agile methodologies of framework we'll be using the Scrum. Similarly, the documentation prerequisites as we have. This is pretty much as we discussed. Now, in this, like I just gave the highlights here, and now we'll just try to see what are the detailed topics which you're going to have here. Okay. In the case of these topics, right? So what is that we are going to have in the types of testing? Okay. So in the types of testing, what we are going to cover here in this one, we will be covering about the manual testing as well as the automated testing. When we say this manual testing, right, we are going to cover the concepts or the topics like in the testing, we are going to cover the topics like SDLC, which is called as a software development life cycle. Okay, we are going to cover this. What are the phases we are going to have? Okay, software development life cycle, and what are the different SDLC types which we use usually. Okay, so we are going to cover. Okay, something like which you call the prototyping model or waterfall model. Okay, spiral model. Those kind of things which we are going to cover. Similarly, we are going to have STLC. There is something called as is development life cycle, and in this STLC is the software testing life cycle. Okay, so what is the testing life cycle we are going to cover here? One part in the development life cycle will be the testing, and in that we will be covering in detail about the testing life cycle. Okay, so like how the testing we are going to perform, what is the test plan we are going to have. Okay, what is the like a test case, and also the defect mechanism. Okay, once the defect is fixed, how we are going to go back and fix it. So those are the concepts we are going to cover in the STLC, and it is just a very high level at 10,000 feet I'm talking. Okay, when it goes to the actual concepts, we are going to cover in detail about this. Okay, like similarly, like as you see under the manual testing, we wrote some of these concepts like test strategy we are going to cover, and also the test plan, test scenarios, test cases, test execution, and most important concept you are going to have is a test sign-off. Okay, when it is called as a sign-off. Okay, like when we are going to say, yes, it is done, everything is fine, this code can be promoted from instance to the other instance. Usually you have dev instance, test, okay, or QA instance. Different companies will call different names, but pretty much the same thing. Sometimes UAT they call, test they call, okay. So something like pre-prod they call, okay, or prod they call. Like these are the different instances which we have. Instance means it is on some kind of code place. Okay, that's what we are going to cover here. And so these are the test sign-off which you're going to have. And that's what we wrote here. And we will be covering in detail. Okay, like from where you are going to write all this, as I was showing this site. Okay, using our site, we will be covering this. Okay, like we are going to have more tabs here. Each and every tab we are going to write all this whole entire site, how we are going to write the test case, test strategy we are going to have, and then how we are going to execute that. What is the entry criteria we are going to have, exit criteria. Usually we use these two terms in the testing strategies, entry criteria as well as exit criteria. When you say entry, when to start, exit means when to end. Like there may be some defects that are already out there, and we are okay with that. Okay, we get the proper blessings from the team, and then we just try to go ahead with that. So those are the things we are going to cover in these scenarios. Okay, like the manual testing we are going to have. And when it comes to the automated testing, we are going to cover the concepts in the automated testing. And as I mentioned, okay, we are going to have the basic Selenium concepts. Okay, and also Selenium by itself is a bigger product. So, but for our purposes, we will be covering the basic Selenium concepts. Why I'm just trying to reiterate the word basic means it is like for the whole entire Selenium itself, it takes, okay, so like whatever we totally planned for 30 hours, it itself takes that time. But in this, at least 2 to 3 sessions, we try to cover. And also we need to have a basic Java idea, okay, which will be having a YouTube video that is available, that we are going to have make it available for you. And also we will cover it in the session, okay, how to use that and how to write a small program. Okay, I think public static void, some message will be there, main. Okay, so those concepts we are going to cover and execute that also part of the session. And similarly, most of the time when you use the word automated testing, okay, don't confuse that record and playback with Selenium, but it is, we don't offer this record and playback in the Selenium, but there are tools where you can just record the session and then playback. Means we just record, we record it and execute it every day. Okay. Why we do that? So that integration is not disturbed. Integration of the modules is not disturbed. For that purpose, we will be using the record and playback. Okay. It is kind of when we're going to cover more about the types, like you call it as a unit testing, you call, okay, integration testing, you call, okay, database testing, you can have security testing will be there, like different types of activities we perform during the testing, and those we just try to put that into different categories. Something like a smoke testing we cover, okay, those things we are going to cover in the record and playback. Usually when we use it, let us say you made like the site which we are trying to show, right? And then in that case, you added a new site, new tab to that particular site. And when you are trying to do a new tab, in that case, why we use the record and playback? Just to give a simple example, like I just have it as home, about us, announcements, contact us. I just put it as a new tab here, example, okay, blog. When you are introducing blog, we want to make sure that these four are not disturbed. Whatever is already working in these four, that should not be disturbed. So for that, there is no point in running each and every one again manually. So we just record all these actions, playback. Means computer will automatically check all those. That script which we made, it will automatically check all this. Whenever there is an error, it will send an email. Otherwise, okay, these four are good. Need not worry. Now go with the next one. So those kind of things we are going to have. The big corporate applications, when we are going to have these concepts, these things, what will happen is once you try to make a change in one module, it is going to break somewhere else. So for that purpose, it may not be possible every time to go back and then check or capture manually. So in those scenarios, we try to write a playback, but we can record exactly, we can mimic the manual actions, record it, playback, it will do. But unfortunately in Selenium, we do not have this, but it's a good tool, which you can have all these concepts in the Selenium. And now coming to the database concepts, okay? So we are going to use the DB concepts like verifying data. As I mentioned, we have data stored in the table. We need to go back and then verify manually, okay, about whether it is correct or not, okay? And if it is only 5 or 6 records, visually you can see and compare, check. But let us say you have got 10,000 records in a database. It is practically impossible for anyone to test it out. So for that purpose, we will be using the database queries for that particular purpose. Now coming to the agile, okay, or it is in the Scrum area when we start into this one. So we are going to have all these things covered. What is the Scrum framework or agile methodology framework? Then it is what is mean by daily Scrum, sprint. Okay, we use all this terminology or all these words in the normal Scrum related activities. So for that, we will just try to cover all this. Okay, Scrum events we call, swim lanes we call, okay, some artifacts, all those things we're going to cover part of the Scrum. Now for the defect tracking tools, we use HPQC. Okay, it is quality control. HPQC is Hewlett Packard quality control. Okay, nowadays they just change the name. Okay, instead of HPQC, they call it as ALM. Okay, application lifecycle maintenance or management. Okay, so that particular tool we are going to have much bigger enhancements, which we have it even in the ALM also. Okay, so those things we are going to cover in the tools. But still HPQC is used by so many people, okay, so many companies. Similarly, Jira is there. Okay, it is like you can have different defects, or it is like a story we call, okay, in the Jira world. Okay, you can just develop those, you can create that, and also you can track it. Okay, usually we are just taking it as defect tracking tools, but in the industry, right, we call it as two things. We can have it as enhancement, we can call, or it is a something like a defect. These are the two things we are going to have. Okay, So the same tool when you are going to use, okay, like Jira, okay, example, okay, you can call it as an issue you can call, or it is a story you can call. Okay, so those kind of things we are going to cover. Similarly, ServiceNow also, you have the different naming conventions also will be there in the tools. Okay, like incident, which they call it as incident. Okay, so that also you can cover in this defect tracking tools. Okay, and the next one you are going to have, okay, like documentation for test sign off. Okay, so these are all the things we are going to cover when you are going to say yes, my testing is completed. So who should do the sign off? Okay, like who are the parties that need to be involved there? Okay, like when you are going to do a sign off for that, okay, it by yourself just sign off is, it may not be it may not be sufficient there. You may need your, the development manager is required, testing manager, release manager. So those all the people, concerned parties need to sign off. Okay, so that we are going to cover with the basic templates. And the next one is about the live projects. When we say it is about this particular site which we are going to have, that particular site, as we are going to have more and more tabs and also more and more features included there, we are going to have it as a live project testing, that after the fully covering the manual testing concepts, theoretically, we are going to start with the live project. Our expectation is to start that from the second week onwards. Like after the first week, we cover the concepts, we go directly for those things in the second week. Case studies. Case studies is the ongoing process you are going to have. Okay. Example case study, if we just say for the like contactors. Okay. So the case study will be, or the scenarios like which we are going to have. Okay. Like, can we have the test scripts for this contactors? Okay. Page. What all the things that needs to happen? Okay. Name. How many characters it will accept? Okay. We are going to have a document, which is a requirement specification document or requirements document. And then again is that document, whether you have all these features properly or not. Okay. So example, I say, okay, you have a requirement to say name can be 50 characters long. What happens if I type 51 characters here? Or what happens if I type 49 characters? Those kind of things which you're going to have as a boundary conditions which we need to see. Similarly, email ID. Okay, for the email ID, what is that I will be taking? Like I cannot just type it as ABCD. Usually we know email ID means it should have some name and then at the rate, right? Some word before at the rate and after at the rate. So those kind of things, something like after at the rate .com, .us, something .org, something need to be there. So those are the things which we are going to add. Similarly, message, how many characters I can have. When I just click on submit, what should happen here? It should save the data to the database. And can it hold the values again? Let us say it did not refresh for whatever the reason and you submit again. Whether it can take double entries or 2 entries in the system. Okay. So like these are the things which we need to test it, which is again is the policy there. Okay. Like what is the point in having the same data twice? Okay. So these are the things which we are going to cover. And these are all the different parts which we have in the case of the scenarios, or like the, what we say, case studies we are going to have. Okay. And like which we have. Okay. So the pros and cons which we just give. Pros, what is the pros? Curriculum focus on testing. Okay. So you will be learning much about the testing and agile methodology which you are going to have. Cons, significant weekly time. Okay. For career growth. Okay. So which we need to spend some time to understand. Okay. And learn. Okay. So contact here, and then similarly dates. Demo session is on 23rd March. We have 7 p.m. EST. Regular sessions from 25th March at 7 p.m. EST. And every session will go for 1 hour. Okay, it is Monday to Friday. And how we are going to break that 1 hour? It will be usually 40 to 50 minutes. We are going to have the session, and the last 10 minutes we dedicate for the Q&A. Okay. Now, these are the this is all about the training which you are going to have. Okay. And some inquiries also we have. Okay, so placement assistance which is being asked for. Okay, we are reaching out to the known employers, like known companies which will be giving the job positions and all those. We will reach out to them and we will be helping you out. Okay, it is, and again, okay, just I want to reiterate, it is not at this point, okay, we cannot guarantee anything, but we always help you out. Okay, after the 2 weeks, first 2 weeks, we will just directly start with the resume preparations, as well as we will help you out, okay, with the reaching out to the companies. Okay, so that we can assure you about that particular part. Okay, and if you think, okay, we can just try to think about, let us start for 2-3 minutes more about the testing. Why we need the testing, okay, of any application, right? We have something called as, if you just look at our car, for our car, if you look at the wheels on the car, right, you see something like a red dot will be there. Okay, someone. Okay, so you see a red dot or something like a yellow dot on the tires of the car. Do you guys see why those red dots or yellow dots are there on the car tires? Did you ever observe that? Technically, the red dot which you see on the tire, or the yellow dot which you see on the tire, which says that that particular tire has passed the quality test. Okay, it is usable to be, okay, it is perfectly ready to use on the road. Okay, that is the meaning of that. Similarly, here for the software testing, we are going to use the similar concepts. We are the gatekeepers. When we are going to test the application, we are the gatekeepers. Okay, who has to say whether that particular application is right or wrong, whether it can work properly or not. Okay, that is how we are going to use the software testing. Okay, likewise, okay, examples in day-to-day applications also, right? In day-to-day also, we use this testing a lot. Okay, any task which you try to do, right, we are always testing it out whether it can work properly or not. Okay, even when we just try to lock the door, and when you're going out, we just lock the door, and what we immediately do, we just try to pull that whatever the handle, right, so down, and also verify that whether it is correctly locked or not. Even if there is nothing, like there is no handle or anything, even if you use an automated lock, we just lock twice or thrice, and we push the door and see whether it is correctly working or not, right? And so those kind of testing, when you are going to do in the same lines in the software also, we are going to test it, and to make sure that this particular product is working fine. But there should be some sort of criteria to test it out. Like for the door example, if you see, you know that the expectation is that this door should not move. Okay, like it is locked, means you should not be able to open it out unless until you use the key. Same concept here we are going to use. Okay, but for that purpose, there will be something called as a requirement document. What is the business is expecting, what exactly the business is trying to expect there, and those we are going to test it out from the code or from the software. We are going to use some sort of strategy or some sort of mechanism we are going to use, and that particular testing we are going to perform. Okay, that is what all about the software testing. And again, testing team and development team has to go hand in hand for a quality product. Okay, so both teams will play the important role when it comes to the development. Oh, sorry, when it comes to the development and testing of the application. Clear? Any questions? Okay, we can just discuss now. Okay, if you think. Yeah, you can always reach out to this particular email which I typed here. So you can reach out and for any questions. Okay, and the next one is for this phone number also. We are always available on this number for the WhatsApp. And we are going to start the next start the sessions from Monday. I believe it is 25th. Okay, so 25th March, we are going to start the sessions, regular sessions at 7 p.m. EST time. Okay, and it will be from Monday to Friday. Okay, and as I mentioned, for the fee, please contact here. Okay, with your name and location. If at all you are interested, you just mention name and location in the email. Okay, and we are going to offer the free sessions for 25th March as well as 26th March. Okay, so for these two days, we are going to have the same Zoom link as today, but next 27th onwards, okay, whoever has the like registration process completed, we will be sending a separate link for them to continue with the sessions. Okay, and also like only for these free sessions, we will be uploading it to our YouTube. Okay, rest all will be the private lessons that will be shared, because if someone is paying the fee, we cannot just directly put for everyone. Okay, so that is a concept we are going to have in case of this trainings. Okay, so any questions or concerns, comments? Any feedback is a positive feedback. Yeah, please go ahead. Okay, sorry. Okay, I think today looks like everyone is comfortable. So if there are no questions, we can just call it a wrap. And we will meet again on the 25th March at 7 p.m. and we on the dot, we will start the sessions. Okay. And if you're interested, you please send me this number to here. Okay, we will be adding you to the WhatsApp group also, separate group, just for this particular session. Okay. So we are going to have, okay, so yeah, please just email here. Okay, so just to send this email here with your name and location probably. So